Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our second episode of Bank One Baton Rouge's Lunch and Learn. Today, we'll be hearing from Karen Burks with TruFund, and she'll be talking to us about access to capital. But TruFund is an organization that lends to small businesses and nonprofits across a wide range of industries and business types. So we're going to hear about microloans, small business administration loans, and she'll be giving us some tips. Also, at the end, we'll be doing some Q&A as well. I want to welcome Karen Burks, and let's get started about access to capital.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. And also thank you for Capital United Way for putting this work on through access to capital, understanding how to get funding for those small business owners, which is so very important. And also happy Financial Literacy Month as well. The month of April, we do celebrate Financial Literacy Month. So let's get right into it. I am going to share a wealth of information surrounding how you can gain access to capital within your small business, right? And those that are small business owners or have a desire to start a business and just don't know the process of doing that, I want to provide some resources and some help to you in order to make that possible for you. As she mentioned, I'm Karen Burks, and I am the Business Development Officer with TruFund Financial Services. We are considered a CDFI, which is a Community Development Financial Institution, right? So that looks like we are helping those small business owners simply get funding for their businesses, right? So I am going to just go right into the process of when we have a small business owner and they have their business, they have their LLC established or however it may be actually structured. Now they're ready to go to that next phase in order to perhaps needing some working capital for their business. Maybe they're needing equipment. Or they're just expanding, right? So they need funding for that business. And so they come into their bank that they're working with, or potentially it may be a credit union or a CDFI like ourselves. So what does that look like for that particular business owner? Some things that I highly recommend that the business owner do in advance is actually build a rapport with their banker. And when I say build a rapport, just don't come into that bank or credit union and just make those deposits and leave out, but actually talk with your banker about what it looks like whenever you're about to expand your business and what you may be needing within 3 to 6 months down the line that your business will be expanding, and they could provide those resources to you in advance before you're actually going in to apply, right? So it's always good to not actually need the money when you need it, to actually be in advance of knowing exactly what you need actually whenever you apply as well. So having those resources available to you in advance is always beneficial. So when I say going into that bank and speaking with that banker should know exactly how long you've been in business. They should know financials pertaining to your business. They should at least know how many people are working within your actual organization. So you're, again, building that rapport. Why are you building that rapport with the banker, you may ask? Is you are wanting them to advocate for you whenever you go in to put in this application for this particular loan. So say, for instance, you're needing a loan for $50,000 for working capital for your business, right? And so say, for instance, you don't have a working relationship with your banker or the branch manager there. No one really knows your name. They may see you every now and then. You do all your work, your business online. Is no actual rapport that you're building with that banker, right? So it's very hard for them to advocate or have a clear story about your business that they can share with that underwriter that is actually looking at your loan in order to share with them, hey, well, this is how long this particular person has been in business, or this is how much they'll be needing, right? So that's one look at the perspective whenever we are, and when I say we as on the back end bankers, business development officers, of how we look at it whenever we have our small business owners come in and they're asking for money in order to go forward within their business, right? So one of those other things that I will share with you pertaining to the list of things in which you'll need whenever you go into the financial institution, right? Or if you are working with the CDFI, what you'll need in order to go forth with this particular loan. So again, we're doing a loan for $50,000. This is our small business loan, working capital. Typically what is needed, we'll ask for at minimum 3 years of your personal and your business taxes, okay? So your personal and business taxes. So if you're taking notes, write those notes down, your personal and business taxes. That's so very important that we have both of those, okay? We need to know that at least you've had 2 years of a solid business within this work that you've been doing, right? So the startup business, not so much we at TruFund will be able to assist with. We need at least 2 years of those financials in order to move forward. So what we're asking for is the 3 years, and then of the personal and business financials, okay? So of your taxes, all right? So your debt schedule. If you're in business, you're familiar with your personal debt and your business debt. You may have just only personal debt, and that's okay. And some businesses have both personal and business, but we will ask for both your personal debt schedule and your business debt schedule as well, okay? And then that balance sheet, your balance sheet of your personal and business as well. So that balance sheet. And then last, we say P&L, but we want to tell you P&L means your profit and loss statement for the business, right? So as business owners, also familiarizing yourself of what P&L is and knowing that it is your profit and loss for your business, right? So we'll need those, I say those particular 4 things, and that again is your taxes in both your business and your personal, right? So we'll also need your your balance sheet, yes, and your debt schedule along with your P&L statement, so your profit and loss statement. So those 4 things for the most part we'll need. So when I say we'll need for the most part, because we'll do a preliminary where we'll look at your financials before we actually pull any credit. Before we pull any credit at TruFund, we're doing preliminary to see, does this person, or will this business, should I say, be viable in order for us to move forward and say this person will be able to get this particular amount for this loan. We wouldn't want to state to you, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and pull your credit, and then it may not be a viable loan, or you may not meet the financials based off of what we see on your personal and business taxes, right? So we look at all of those things in order to assist with that, all right? And then here's another thing that I love to share as well, and then I'll go into what I have on the screen here, which is the real estate acquisition program, and I'll use that as an example. If a business owner is looking to get some type of brick and mortar for their business, right? And they are wanting to acquire a new property or a used property, they're acquiring it, right? And so they are needing to get funding for this particular property. I'm going to walk you through the process of what that looks like in order for a business owner to actually go through the process, get the funding, and of course, perhaps what it would look like for the funding process once approved, okay? So I'll go through all of that with you, but I do want to share this with you as well. As business owners, I call it lit, but one of my other colleagues call it Bell. So I say you should have a lit team, and they state that you should have a Bell team, but both of them are really good. I call it lit because it's an acronym. And so you should have a lawyer, you should have an insurance person, and you should have someone that should be your tax preparer. Me as your banker, of course, I think that's always there. But the Bell team is your banker. So you'll have your banker, you'll have your accountant, you'll have your insurance person, and you'll have your lawyer. That's your Bell team, right? So if you're taking notes, make sure you have those individuals on your team. They're so very important, especially if you're acquiring any type of funding for your business. Your accountant, your bookkeeper is going to be so very important to have on your team to share with me, hey, this is the financials, this is how much this particular business owner has made for the year, or how much they're projecting to make for the upcoming year. Those things are so very important that I am in contact with those individuals in order to make sure that your business flourish and go to the next level in order to receive the funding in which you're requesting as well. All right. So we're going to move forward. On the screen, you will see the real estate acquisition program. So that's one of the loan products in which TruFund Financial Services provides, right? And so I really, really love this particular loan product because it is a great value to our borrowers that have used it. All right, so I'll just go to the next screen and just go into a little bit of this particular product. All right, and so we call it the wrap loan. And I've had the opportunity to actually do one of these loans here in Louisiana, one of the first ones that we were able to do. I also cover not only Louisiana, but also Alabama as far as our loans and funding and things of that sort. So just to go over a little bit about this particular loan product and introduction to it. So it states here, the wrap loan allows business owners the ability to purchase commercial real estate that will be used for their business with 5% down. Only 5% down. Now, we have heard of some other financial institutions, whether it's traditional banks, credit unions. On average, it can be between, I would say, 80 to maybe 90%, in which they would cover, and then the borrower would have to cover the other maybe 20% of that amount, right? That is a whole lot compared to only 5%, in which we're asking for that borrower to put down towards that, right? All right, so it is for minority of business owners in our lending footprint that consists of Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, New Jersey, New York, and Texas. It's specifically for minority business owners that can pay a mortgage but do not have the full down payment required by lenders. Most traditional commercial real estate loans require, like I stated earlier, between 10 to 30% cash down payment. This program is very unique. It offers business owners the ability to purchase commercial real estate with only 5% down. So we're in the business of helping our small business owners to elevate to that next level, also to have that generational wealth for their businesses as well. So this is also helping them within their business. All right. And of course, I'll take questions at the end, but I definitely want, again, to reiterate that 5% down is the minimum of what is required for that business owner. Okay. All right. So this program aligns with TruFund's mission for the following reasons. Okay. So it will provide access to capital, right, to underserved populations that historically have had obstacles to acquire owning their own property to operate their businesses, right? It will help business owners create sustainable and wealth, and it will help business owners strengthen their balance sheet, business profile. It will also help those business owners become attractive to traditional lenders. And then also, they will also benefit from tenants that may occupy the property they are purchasing as well. So that is so important. Also, being that business owner, and then you're also able to accumulate some form of generating revenue in that. All right, so that's so very important. So let's get into the product basics of this, right? So we've talked about in the beginning what all is needed in order to gain that access to capital. I went over those things, those 4 things. All right. Again, I'll repeat those. That's profit and loss statement, balance sheet, debt schedule, 3 years of tax returns, both business and personal. Right. So here we go. The product base. So your commercial real estate loan, what that looks like. So we are doing a purchase or refinance, and it's at that 95% LTV. So I know that's an acronym for you guys. So loan to value, right? and then 90% to the LTD respectively, okay? For minority business owner, the business should exist for a minimum of 2 years. And then the commercial real estate loans could be as low as 200,000 to 5 million. Now, it may be kind of challenging to find a commercial building for 200,000 now, but for the most part, we started off at that amount at 200,000, and it can go up to 5 million. Okay, so the term loan description. Again, the term loan is at 95% LTV to 90% LTV, and then you have a 7-year note, so we will re-amortize that particular loan for a 25-year loan with principal and interest payments due during that 7-year time frame. A 9% fixed rate. Now, mind you, this rate that I'm sharing with you today is for today, so it can change. We know how the market, based on the Federal Reserve, though rates can change at any moment. So we want to make sure, based on today, it's at that 9% rate. And then, of course, and for the most part, that particular rate has been pretty consistent, but if anything changes, we'll keep our borrowers up to date as far as, hey, this rate has changed. But if they've been already into the loan application, say for instance, a rate has changed and we've given out to them a letter of pre-approval of what that rate is, of course, they're fixed in that rate already. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that portion. So at 1% origination fee due at cost. All right. So that's pretty much the process of what it looks like, the product basis of this process in order to go through the real estate acquisition program with, right? So more processes. All right, so the property type. And so you may ask, okay, what type of property can I get with this particular loan product that TruFund is offering, right? So retail, it can be mixed use, office, industrial, single tenant properties, all right? So we want to make sure whenever we are looking for those properties, and we're working with those realtors as well, what standards, which ones are eligible for the requirements for this particular loan. And again, just to reiterate, the areas in which we are able to lend in at this time is Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, New York, Central and Northern New Jersey, and Texas. Okay, so let's talk about the underwriting criteria. So you get through the process, we do your preliminary, we receive all of that, your preliminary documents, and it stated to you, hey, this loan is viable. It seems as though you look good to move forward to get this particular loan that you're getting for, let's put it out there, for $400,000 for a real estate acquisition for a property that you're looking for, right? And so the next phase, we are taking it to underwriting. That's when we're pulling credit. That's when they are looking at more of your financials and more of the documents our underwriters will ask of. All right. So minimum DSCR of 1.1 or more. All right. And so you may ask, what is DSCR? Okay, so that is your debt service credit ratio. And that's a more of a term for, of course, back office or those underwriters, but they want to make sure that you're meeting that requirement for their matrix for financials. But that's what that term is, or that acronym is for that. Based on historical income, right? So what has the historical income been for the business? Have you been profiting within this business? Would it be necessary in order to get this amount in which you're requesting for, right? Minimum credit score is at 650 for this particular loan. Of course, if it's more, wonderful. And if it's at under 650, maybe it's some areas in which you would need to speak with that business development officer to see how could we make this work? Would someone else be coming on with you with this particular loan outside of just one person, right? So all of those things definitely matter. And then must have been in business for at least 2 years. Although in the preliminary portion, I will ask you, I need 3 years of your tax returns, right? But we do ask for a minimum of 2, right? An appraisal that sustains the property's value. So we want to make sure that that particular property value is in alignment of how much it appraised for, right? So making sure that is important. All right, so fees paid by the borrower. All right, so there is an application fee that is submitted whenever you're doing any loan with TruFund Financial Services. So that is at $250. And then there is the property inspection report that would have to come along with that, because if you're doing any type of real estate, there needs to be some type of inspection done within that particular property in which you are looking to acquire. Of course, an appraisal report, and all of these is to be determined, which is that TBD, regarding of what that cost may look like. So I always would suggest to our borrowers that they have money on reserve, and not only just for your down payment, that 5%, but you should have money on reserve simply for these other fees that will come into play for this particular loan, right? So, and that's just for the real estate acquisition loan, okay? And so for appraisal reports and review, you'll need that. Environmental assessments and review fees, that is another to be determined. Title report, title insurance, origination fee at that 1% of the loan due at closing, and a lender attorney fee. And this is a good place to share that this is where you would really need to make sure you have your attorney in place, because there are like legal things pertaining to acquiring this particular property as well, the commercial property. So you want to make sure you have all those things aligned prior to going into getting the particular property you have desire to get. Okay, all right, so let's move forward. Any questions regarding, I know that was very quickly, any questions regarding how to go through the process of getting any type of funding for a business? And of course, that particular one, that example that I shared pertaining to real estate acquisition. And of course, I shared a little bit about just a regular $50,000 business loan. But any questions that may come to mind as far as how could one go about getting funding for their business, and actually it being a yes instead of a denial or waiting, because we don't want to hear that. We want to hear, yes, you've been approved, all that good stuff, so you can move forward in your business, right? So I'll take any questions that we have regarding access to capital.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. Truly, sharing your knowledge and your passion definitely came through. And I do want to ask a few questions that I have for you. So I want to go back to the credit score. I know you gave a minimum of what a credit score should be, but do you have a certain number that y'all prefer clients to have? So if someone is interested and they want to maybe work towards this, is there a number that you suggest they work towards?
Yes, absolutely. So we do, in the slide, of course, I stated 650, and that's for our wrap loans and just for our loans in general for the most part. But if they're not right there at the cusp of the 650, there are ways in which, let me go back. We do what we call technical assistance. And so technical assistance looks as though we are providing them with that structure, that pathway of how to get to that 650 or above, not just stating, oh, well, you know, you can't deny it this time, but maybe you should come back at this time. No, well, here are some strategies, here are some resources. When I tell you we have amazing community partners like you all yourselves as well, if there are any resources in which we can point them in a direction of stating, hey, well, here's an actual company that helps with helping you through the process of learning of how to help with your credit a little bit better, or some classes that can be taken, then that's how we help to guide our clients, our borrowers through that process of understanding, hey, you can get to this 650 within this particular time frame if you stay on this pathway, right? So just guiding them through that, but definitely sometimes it will be a little bit of hand holding, but you got to let go of their hand because it is their business and allow them to do the work, but also
Right.
provide them with the resources in order to make sure that that's done. But Capital Area United Way has amazing resources. Definitely want to shout that out as well of how you guys are able to help those business owners that are looking for those resources regarding just credit in general. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, thank you. Because yes, something that we hear a lot is people they don't realize the correlation between personal and business credit.
Yeah.
And, it works the same with your interest rates and your credit worthiness. That all goes into what your loan might look like in the future.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, so how does an individual know what they would qualify for based on their tax returns?
Great question. I like that one. So one thing I would love for all of our small business owners to do is make sure that they are meeting with their tax preparer or bookkeeper quarterly. Know where they're at financially within their business, not just for your personal money, but with your business. So if your business is making profit throughout the year, and then you're wanting to scale up your business financially. So if, say, for instance, like I put a number out there, you are profiting about $50,000 a year. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm wanting to scale or grow my business. I want to hire someone else on. And I think I want to take out maybe a small loan, right? So it's okay to put in that particular loan and see how much you qualify for. And then also say, for instance, if they've gotten a contract with the city or with the state, or if it's a federal government contract, we can use those things as well. We do contract lending as well. So that's another help to let us know, hey, this business is a viable business to go forward with this particular loan. Yeah.
No, thank you. And that kind of leads me to another question that came through. And I know you definitely touched on, parts of this, but can you kind of go through the process of purchasing a building?
Yes,
Just
absolutely. So I'll go through similar of how I did one not too long ago. So of course, I had the borrower. She submitted what we call a loan inquiry form. So it's a link that I'll send to the business owner if they're ready to purchase the building, right? And they state, I'm looking at this particular building that's for $650,000. They'll complete that particular link. I'll receive the link and stating, okay, this is how much they're looking for, where it's located, like all their information is on that particular link, right? And it's called our loan inquiry form. And so once I receive that, it lets me know a little bit as far as where they're looking to purchase, how much about the business as well, how long they've been in business as well. But along with that, they're also providing me with those 4 things I talked about earlier, as far as the preliminary documents. So what comes with that link, you would need to also send to me the 3 years of both the business and personal taxes, balance sheet, debt schedule, and P&L statements, which is your profit and loss. So I'll need those things in order to move forward, because I've had oftentimes where it would be, oh, well, it's just sitting there, the loan inquiry, but no documents. And we don't want that. We want to have the documents in order so we can move forward, right? So once we have all of that, now we're able to make some momentum happen and see where we're at in order to move forward. So now that we have those documents, I can say, hey, well, this is how much based off of what documents I received from you, it's a valuable loan, and this is how much potentially it's looking like you will be able to qualify for, right? And this is without pulling any credit. Now, based on the information in which the borrower provides to us, that's what we go by. But if there's something that comes up on that credit report and it's not stated to us, then we're kind of backtracking. So it's very important that I say to my borrowers, be very upfront with me of anything that may be on your credit report that you think that will be on there so that I can better assist you, right? And so once we've gotten to that phase, then we are submitting in to full credit, and it's going to our underwriters and actually for us to start momentum on this particular loan. Of course, you've already worked with your real estate or your realtor in order to get the loan documents that are needed, not loan documents, but getting what's needed from that particular property in which you're wanting. And then we're doing our portion on our end regarding to the loan documents that's needed. It could be where the process, it can be as at a minimum of 2 to 4 months, but it can vary based on the type of property. I mean, with real estate, well, commercial, should I say, it can be a pretty lengthy process. So it's not going to happen overnight. So exercising patience is very important whatever you're doing, any type of real estate or even just commercial in general. But we definitely want to make sure that we're getting what is needed in that process as well. And not to mention, if it does go through SBA, which is Small Business Administration, whereas they are backing this particular loan, they do require more documents that may happen within that particular loan process, right? So, and depending on what they may request of. So we do ask that regarding that time frame, it can take a few months regarding that. Once we do get to that closing portion, it's pretty much done at that portion. Our loan processor on my end is pretty much done with our loan processor and underwriting. Of course, that stamp of approval stating that this loan has been approved to go forth. And then now they're just going to that closing table with our of course, loan processor will be able to help with that process. And then a title company as well, because it is a commercial deal. So it is a very rewarding opportunity as well for those business owners, but that's pretty much the process of what it takes. Yeah.
So what would next steps be for someone? Where can they find information? Where can they get actually that process going?
I love that. So next steps on the very first screen, but I'll also share it as well and share it out. I'll go back to the first screen with my information. Well, of course, it just has my name, but nonetheless, so they can reach me. They can reach me at kburks@trufund.org, and that's TRUFUND.org. And that's Karen. Well, I'll just read it all out so that everyone will be able to get this. So it's KBURKS@trufund.org. And then my contact number to reach me so that you can get that loan inquiry form and complete it for the loans, right? So it's area code 225-964-9277. And of course, I cover Louisiana and Alabama. But if it's a loan in Texas and you're needing assistance in Texas for a loan, I do have colleagues there that will be able to assist, and I'll be able to assist you as much as possible. But I cover all of Louisiana regarding loans. I was in Shreveport not too long ago for an event as well. So if you know anyone that is looking for funding for their businesses, please send them my way. I'll do my absolute best to assist them in getting funding in which they're needing. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think that is all the questions we have today, but again, this is Karen Burks with TruFund Financial Services. We are in our second week of Financial Literacy's virtual lunch and learns. So next Monday, please join us at 12 p.m. with the Middleburg Institute, where we'll be learning about stretching your dollar. And all of the resources we talked about here today, all of the additional financial education, they can be found on Capital Area United Way's Bank On section of our website, which is www.cauw.org/bankon. BANKON. We look forward to seeing you next week, and we are always here if you have any questions. And thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.